Next is the wait in our Selenium. So basically, whenever we are performing some actions on a web page, suppose I clicked on the contact us, it is taking some time for me to load the web page, right? And suppose I am on this page, I am entering some details here, and if I click on a submit button, so it will take a some time to perform this action. So how the synchronization will happen, because script execution will go in the smooth way, in the sequence mode. Suppose it has performed this action, immediately it will jump on the next line of a code for you. But our application is not responded yet from the last action. So in that case, we have to wait for some time, right, before jumping to the next line of a code to be executed. So to maintain that kind of a synchronization between your script execution and application, okay, we call it as a synchronization, right? And to how we can maintain that kind of a synchronization, we can maintain or we can achieve it with the help of the waits. So in that case, we will tell to our script, you have to wait for some time until the some action which is getting performed on the UI is not getting complete. So you have to wait till that time. Right? So that's why we have to use the waits in Selenium for that. So there are basically two types of wait in Selenium. One is static wait, one is the dynamic wait. So the static wait is basically, if we are using the static wait, in that case, whatever the time we are mentioning, it will pause the execution for the specified time. Like thread dot sleep, and it takes the milliseconds. So 2000 we have given. So in that case, it will be used for the 2 seconds. So for 2 seconds, our execution will not be happen. Okay. So this is about the thread dot sleep. Like we are already using thread dot sleep. After pausing of 2 seconds, and it will go to the next element for the next line of a code for the execution. Next one is the dynamic wait. So in dynamic wait, what it will happen, whatever the time you will give for the dynamic wait. Suppose you have given 10-second total time, and our action that is getting complete on the web page in the 5 second only. So in that case, it will wait for the 5 seconds, and then it will start executing for the next step. It will not wait for the complete 10 second of a wait. So that's why we are showing it as a dynamic wait. Static means to say the whatever time we are giving, it will pause for that particular time. Either the action is completed or not, that's not matter, but still it will wait for the specific time only. But in dynamic wait, it will wait till the action is not getting complete. Once the action will be complete and our condition for waiting for some element is satisfied, then it will elapse the remaining time. That's why it is a dynamic wait. So there are multiple waits in our Selenium, multiple dynamics waits. So first is the implicit wait. So what implicit wait will do is, it will be get applied on the complete WebDriver. It will not be applicable only for one element. Okay. So by implicit waiting, WebDriver polls the DOM for a certain duration when trying to find any element. So this can be useful when certain elements on the web page are not available immediately and need some time to load. So definitely we are waiting for some element to be present on the web page. Once set, the implicit wait is set for the life of the WebDriver session. So as I'm saying, it will be applicable for the complete WebDriver, right? So like driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait, you have to mention in this way. Let's try to use it. So what we are trying to say, after maximize browser, suppose I am saying driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait. You can see this implicit wait is there. So you have to mention duration. For how much time you want. Okay, so duration of, you can mention in days, you can mention in hours, milliseconds, minutes, nanoseconds or seconds. But most of the time we use like milliseconds. So you can mention like 2000 milliseconds I have to give here. So what will happen? This 2 seconds of a time will be applicable for all of the element now. This element also, and if any other element is there, that will also in other class also, because it has applied on the complete WebDriver object. So that's why it is a implicit wait for the complete WebDriver session.
Okay, Rahul, just one question. Like before performing any action on any of the object on this page, it waits for 2 seconds for all the element.
Right. It will
Okay,
not
got
wait for two
Yeah,
seconds.
I got it. But it applies for all the elements.
Right.
But if the object identifies within 2 milliseconds, then it will perform the actions, right?
Right, right. So,
Thank you.
but it is getting applicable for all. So, in that case, what happens now? Basically, I will try to explain the drawback here. So, suppose I have opened this contact us page, and all the elements are already visible now. Last name, first name, email address, comments button is already available, right? So I don't want to be wait for the last name. I don't want it has to check for email. I don't want it has to check for comments, right? Because otherwise it is a wasting of a
Yes.
time and the slow execution for us. If it is already present, please perform the direct action. We don't want it to be wait for that particular next element for us. So this is the like drawback for us to implement the implicit wait.
Okay, got it.
Instead of that, there are another wait is there that we called as a explicit wait. Okay, so in explicit wait, this is also a same kind of a wait only. Only the main difference here is it will be applicable only for one element. For whatever element you will put the condition, it will wait only for that particular element. It will not be applicable for all the elements. So wherever you want to use, as per your no design, or as per your expectation, or as per your application, so you can use the explicit wait on that particular element. No need to use for all the elements.
Okay. And Rahul, we take this call based upon our applications knowledge, right?
Right, based on our application knowledge, because we
Yeah,
know
how much?
when we should wait, when we should apply that. Suppose
Okay.
I know once I will click on a submit button, I should apply the a dynamic wait on the next button, next action, or the next element. Because after submit, it will take some time for me, right, to
Yes.
perform this action. Only then there will be the next page will there. So on the next page, first element, I should apply the dynamic wait.
Got it.
Got it. So explicit wait, they allow your code to be hold program execution or freeze the thread unless the condition you pass it resolves. So in that we pass a condition for like the element, condition for the element. It should be visible or it should be clickable. Like button is there, we can add the condition that this button should be clickable. Only once this element will be clickable, I will perform the action. So this is a condition that we are applying, and we are applying as a dynamic wait there. So the condition is called with a certain frequency until the timeout of the wait is elapsed. Since explicit wait allow you to wait for a condition to occur, they make a good fit for synchronizing the state between the browser and its DOM and your WebDriver script. Sometimes what happens on the application is like this post submit button is there, it is visible on the screen, but inside the DOM still it is loading the content for the button. And if still it is not fully loaded on your web page and you will try to perform the action on the button, you will get some exception like not clickable at that time. You can't click on that element. So in that case, if you are adding the dynamic wait that this button is clickable and that condition is satisfied in our Selenium, and then you will perform the click action. So in that case, it will not throw any exception to you. So that's the same thing I'm trying to explain it here. So it will wait for a particular condition and then it will perform the action on the element. Okay, so there are multiple waits are there. This is the syntax for particular element. Suppose I want to perform some action on a element, so you have to wait for some time. You have to add the condition dot until expected condition dot element to be visible, and you have to give the XPath for which element you want to do that.
Rahul,
Yeah.
I have a doubt. See, in the static wait, what we are doing is whatever time we have mentioned, in that time, whether the
Object.
element
Yes.
object is visible or not, it will continue the execution. It will just wait for the time. Once the time gets completed, next it will continue the execution.
Right.
In the dynamic implicit wait, there also we are mentioning particular time, right? Even in that also, once the 2 seconds what we are giving gets completed, then also it will continue the execution. Or if the element doesn't find in the mentioned time, for example here we are giving duration of seconds,
Hmm.
what happens if the element was not getting visible in this time?
It will throw you an exception. It will.
Whereas in the static wait, it is not going to.
No, no, see, I think you are confused. So what we are trying to say here is this thread dot sleep means to say completely pause. It will not execute at all. Okay. And here we are trying to find the element. If the element is found before the 5 second, and within the 5 second only, so in that case rest of the 5 second will be elapsed and your execution will start. But here total execution will be stopped for the specified time, and then it will perform the next action. And if we don't find any element, suppose for static with wait also we don't find after 2 seconds,
Yeah.
test case will fail.
Okay.
And here also if we don't find after 10 seconds, that will also fail. That will throw you that is no, no such element found exception. But
Okay.
only
Okay.
the thing is it will wait for the specific time, right?
Got it. Got it. Okay.
And
Okay.
here the
Uh,
remaining time will be elapsed.
okay. Okay. Once it founds, it will continue the execution, but in the static, it will wait till the wait time gets completed.
Right. So that's
Okay.
why suppose
Okay.
today application behavior is, suppose this web page is loading me in the 5 second. So I will mention the 5 second in the static wait. Okay. But
Hmm.
suppose tomorrow it is taking 7 second because server is slow today.
Hmm.
So in that case, what you have to do, you know that it is taking some more time today. It doesn't mean you will come here and then you will change it to 7, right? It's not a
Hmm.
good practice. Every time you can't change the thread dot sleep based on the application behavior. Today it is responding in 5 seconds, but tomorrow it can respond in even 1 second also. But still
Yeah.
it is waiting for 7 seconds for you, and the execution speed is going slow and it is taking more time for your execution, right? So we
Yeah.
don't recommend thread dot sleep wait, static wait. We don't recommend. We recommend dynamic wait. You mention here 100 second. It don't
Hmm.
matter for us.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It is a one-time activity. Even for us in a live company project, we mention like 100 seconds here on the dynamic wait,
Hmm.
because we know if you're mentioning 100 second, it will not wait for 100 second for me.
Okay.
And whatever the response will be there from the website, right, either today or tomorrow, whatever response it is coming in 2 second, 4 second, or 5 second, it will wait only till that wait only, and then the remaining time will be left from the 100 second. So our execution and performance will be good in that with the
Okay.
dynamic wait.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so there are multiple expected conditions are there that you can use. You can wait for alert. If there are alert is present, you can check for the element also. You can check for the title condition, that if title is present or not, right? You can check for element visible or not, because until the element is not visible you can't perform the action. So you can put a condition till my element is present. So we have to wait for the for that, and only after that we will be performing the action on the same. Okay, so here maybe the syntax. Let's see one syntax for that. And here by default, okay, by default it will be waiting for that particular element in a 500 milliseconds. If you're mentioning 10 second, right? So in that case, first, like static pause will be there for 500 second. Then it will try to search for that particular element or a condition. If it is not satisfied, then again it will wait for the 500 milliseconds again, and then again it will search for the remaining time. So in that way, 500 millisecond cycle will continue in the explicit wait to satisfy the condition. Okay, so let's see. Suppose this contact us is there. Comment the implicit wait. We'll try to implement the explicit wait here. Okay, so we have to create the WebDriver object first of all. Mhm. This is the class they have given here in Selenium WebDriver wait. We have to create the object for WebDriver wait. Okay, and this can be an interview question also. Okay, write down the dynamic wait syntax. So you have to write it. WebDriver wait. You have to give the object. You have to create the object for WebDriver wait. You have to pass the driver, and you have to mention the time, duration of second, how much time you want to wait for that. Okay, and you have to import it from the Selenium. Once you will import, now you have to write down the syntax. So like wait dot until. Until is the method that is given. It will wait, till the condition. So what is the condition here? You can give expected condition inside that. Expected conditions dot. So this is my expected conditions to be true there. So you can see different expected conditions will be there. If you want to see for alert is present, attribute is containing something, it's depend on the scenario that you want to wait for the element, what kind of operation you want to perform on the element. Element to be clickable, element to be selectable, element to be displayed or visible, invisibility. So all the methods they have given here. So we'll do for visibility, visibility of the element. So we'll do that. And element, so the element, if you want to find send, you have to use this. Copy this and paste it here. I will cut it and I want to perform a dot click on this. So use the dot click. We can remove this one. Remove the screenshot. We don't want to take the screenshot. Okay, so this is the syntax for the dynamic wait. You have to create a object of a WebDriver wait by mentioning the time, duration, and then you have to use the condition wait dot until expected condition visibility off. For what kind of which element visibility we are trying to find. Okay, for this particular element, until this element is not present, you will not be able to click on that, right? So we want to wait for contact us. Once it will be visible, then you have to perform the action on it. Dot click action. Just this time run as so, like I have given a 10 second of delay, so it will not wait 10 second. If it is getting fined within a 1 second or a millisecond, so immediately it will perform the next action. You can see on contact us, it has clicked for me already because it has already found in milliseconds. And if I will mention this thread dot slip and if I will mention as a 10 second here. Okay, I'm trying to explain the difference. So if you will click run a Java application, it will wait for 10 seconds for me, hard code. And so because element is already present on the website, but still you can see it is still waiting for me 10 seconds, and it is slowing the execution for me. But now after 10 seconds, once I have reached to the dynamic wait, so immediately it has found element is there, and it has not waited for me 10 seconds at all, maybe few milliseconds, 10 100 milliseconds it has waited, and the rest of the time it has been elapsed, and now it has able to perform the next action. So we don't recommend to use thread.slip in the test cases. Instead of that, use the dynamic wait so that it will speed up the execution as well for us. Okay. So there are multiple methods that I have shown you are there in dynamic wait. And one more wait is there, that is our fluent wait. Okay. But before that, I want to tell this is an important for the point of view. We should not never mix explicit wait and implicit wait, because if we are doing that, it is mainly waits sleeping for the maximum time, even if the element is available or condition is true, right? Because element is there, but still, first it will wait for the implicit wait, then it will apply the explicit wait on the same element, right? So in that case, it will increase the time only for you, not the execution. So you should not mix implicit and explicit wait. Okay. So the next is fluent wait.
So, for example, if you have one framework, okay, in that like which if you use implicit, we have to use only implicit. If we use explicit, we have to use only explicit, right? That's what you meant.
Yeah, but see, but even though recommended is you should not use the implicit wait,
Okay, got it.
because implicit wait is implementing for all the objects. But I don't want it should be implement for all the objects. If already in the contact us form, already last name, email, comment, submit was already present, then why I should apply the wait still on that? So even though implicit wait is not recommended, you have to use dynamic wait, and use the dynamic wait on the object on which it is required. If it is not required on all the objects, then why to use it?
Got it.
So, but this is again just like a not, and even if you're using implicit wait in your application, still don't mix it with the explicit wait. That will even further delay your execution.
Got it.
Got it. Yeah. So fluent weight is there. Fluent weight means to say, if in the last weight only the difference is in the explicit weight we were not able to mention the frequency. Like I have told, by default it is having the 500 millisecond of frequency to verify the condition in the explicit weight. But if you want to specify some timing, some frequency timing, so in that case you have to use the fluent weight. So in fluent weight you can mention the total time as well, that I want to wait for 30 seconds, and in 30 seconds the frequency that I want to give, you can mention the frequency also. After every 5 seconds, it will again try to verify for the particular conditions that you are trying to give. Okay, and that is the only difference. And behavior of fluent wait is also same. If it is finding the element within the specified time or before that, so it will elapse the remaining time, and it will further go on the execution on that. Only the difference is you can mention the frequency also here for your time. Okay, so this is the only difference. There is no difference, but this is an interview question, like what are the dynamic weights are there in your Selenium. So you have to mention implicit, explicit, and fluent weight, and more. If you will explain to no interviewer that this is how we write, what is the difference is there, what is the frequency are there for the weights, so in that case it will be good only. So all the things I have actually explained about the weights, and I have shown you in the example.
Yes. Can you create one for this fluent weight, Rahul?
This is the example I have given. Okay, so you don't have to do nothing, just copy this line. Okay, this one is same, you can use in the Fluent Wait. Where is that? Okay, this one is in
Yeah, and one more question, Rahul. Which is fast, fluent weight or explicit weight?
explicit wait.
Okay.
Explicit
Yeah,
wait
because
is
here
fast.
checking the condition, two conditions right here in fluent weight.
Two conditions also, and it also takes in like in a second. So I'm not sure if you can give some milliseconds or nanosecond frequency. Actually, you can increase or decrease here. Like by default, it is 500 milliseconds in explicit wait. So every is having the advantage or disadvantage, because you can't give a very less frequency. If you will give very less frequency also, that is also not good, because response even sometimes take in the 30-40 seconds also on the web page. But still, if you will try to hit and to verify the condition, so that is also not good. So 500 is a good one only, the frequency.
Okay, got it. And from all the three, explicit is recommended to use.
Yes, sir, yes. Mostly we use explicit wait only in the application as well.
Okay, Rahul. Thank you.
So see, nothing is there. Just you have to use like this. You have to import this Fluent Wait from the Selenium, and it will work for you. Nothing is there. Just you have to change the driver dot find element. Instead of that, you have to use our one only for which element you are looking for. Otherwise, all will be the same. Okay, so you can do the practice. If you have any issue, we'll do that. Not a problem. But the only difference I have mentioned, it is the frequency changer. Otherwise, same thing, you have to mention the total time, if any exception, wait for what element or condition.